April, we collected $5,243.41 in fees for the busiest month of the year so far. A variance request came in on April 30th, and that will be the 6th variance for 2024. That's a lot. We have a new system now that if someone wants to put a variance in, the paperwork has to be in by the 3rd Friday of the month preceding the following month. So they missed it by a couple of days, so it won't be heard until June. The popular permit right now seems to be decks, sheds, and fences. And we had one agricultural exemption permit. And in the Tech Park Ohio Custom Pools, they were issued a permit to build their headquarters. For those that live on Chippewa Road or familiar with the property there, I notified the health department. I have a letter here from them. They notified the homeowners because the people that live there are not the homeowners, they're the tenants. I stopped by there today and I talked to the investigator, and anybody that drives by there will see the difference. There's at least 3 to 5 truckloads of trash that have been removed, at least that's what the owner told her. Now, the letter was sent out April 15th of 2024, so they have 30 days. I'm confident at this rate, she's gonna stay on top of it, and I keep checking it out, that it won't fall back into the situation it was. Palker Road. On Palker Road, 6695 Palker Road, that's where the tent was. The tent has been removed, as well as the platform that was there. The only thing that remains is a small lean-to. Property was purchased on land contract. 6556 Palker Road. They're making progress with every suggestion I make. I get photo updates from them, as well as visits to the office, and he knows I'm monitoring the situation. 6635 Palker Road. I gave both junior and senior Palker vouchers. I spoke to both of them. The garage looks great. I've gone by there. The garage door was open. I went in. I have pictures of the garage. You could fit cars in the garage now. It looks good. However, I do see a pile of debris in the front yard. I'm going to be watching it though, and they know it. The last time I was there, they had a burn pile in the front yard, and I forgot about the fire department where they have that policy. So, but it was after 6 p.m. They're going to be getting a saw, and what they plan to do is they're going to cut up that boat that's on the property and dispose of it because it's fiberglass, so they can't really recycle it, so they're going to cut that up. I've had no problem with them. They've been very courteous when I stopped there. I've yet to see the backyard, but I've been told it's a mess. One of these days, maybe I'll get to see it. I've been advised of a few other nuisance properties within the township I'm going to be following up on. I had a resident stop into the admin building the other day. He said there's a property, several properties on Deerview Lane that have some zoning violations they want me to check out, but that was Friday. I've not looked into it yet. And I just want everybody to know, I can be reached. I'm in the office on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7 to 3, but that doesn't mean you can't call me on Mondays, Thursdays, or anytime. I have a phone number, it's on the website, and my email is zoning@LafayetteTownship.com. Does anybody have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but, actually for Kathy, what your assessment of your neighbor on Palker? Nothing.
I've seen Sherry out there before, and I know you're staying on top of it, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's been some activity on the property next to me, so.
Are you talking about the one to the right of you that was a vacant land?
No, that one's all cleaned up nicely now. It
Okay, you're
looks
talking
really-
about the ranch.
The ranch,
Okay.
yeah, Holker Jr. and his dad. I see people over there working, although there's still piles of
I saw that. I
rubbish
told-
in the front yard, and I'm not sure why it's there.
I told them to break it down into smaller tasks. I go by there at least twice a week now. I'm going by there. I don't pull in the driveway. They told me, they go, you know you can pull in the driveway. I said, I'm afraid of getting a flat tire. I'm not pulling in your
Seriously.
driveway. No.
Yeah.
I'm gonna park on the street, leave my hazards on.
Yeah, I appreciate the improvement over there. It's still nothing I really wanna look at, but at least
It
my
does
bushes
look
are
better.
in bloom now. I don't have to look
It does
at
look
it.
better though, and there is a
It's
plan.
improving, and as long as they keep poking away at it, I'm all happy with it.
And they didn't ask for the vouchers, it was my idea, and I told them, I said, get as much junk together as possible, get it out of here.
Exactly. Thank you, Sherry. Do appreciate that.
Thank you. To add on to that too, we're still waiting to hear back from the prosecutor's office. Haven't got any word back on the title searches from,
Yeah.
that we asked for.
Several people coming in and out of there. I'm not sure if there's new residents in there. I'm really not sure what's going on. I think there's 3 people living in the house, but I can't be sure. There's usually activity. Some of it looks like they're cleaning up inside. I actually saw them using a broom one day.
Was he writing it?
No, they weren't riding it, no.
Anybody else at this point? Any questions? Sherry? All right, before we move forward, I'd like to change the order up just a little bit here tonight. I'd like to move an executive session up right now, and then we'll come back and pick up with public participation after that. Purpose of the executive session will be pursuant to ORC 121.22, paragraph G1, employee hiring, firing, discipline, compensation, investigation, et cetera.
I'll second.
Well, we'll do roll call vote for that. Paroli?
Yes.
Fullerton?
Yes.
O'Neill, yes. The time is 6:49. Also like to have zoning inspector Sherry Mikey with us. And Laura Rubenstein. 7:31. We are back from executive session. No decisions were made. Anybody have any comments or questions? No? All right, let's move on with public participation.
With liberty and justice for all. For all.
Remember them 3 words.
But maybe not for the 9 million that's stuck across the border. And you probably don't want to hear my solution for that one.
Yeah, you probably want to shoot them all.
It might be illegal. There's enough illegal stuff going on in this township. We don't need to add other stuff in this country. You know? It's kind of hard when you get to be my age to hear it. It's kind of a blessing if you're married, as far as I can tell. You don't have to listen to a lady too much. And if you're divorced, you don't have to worry about it anyhow. But I know you guys don't want to hear me. But truthfully, I'd like to hear you. Maybe the township can cough up a couple $100, get 3 microphones up here and some kind of portable amplifiers so old people like me can hear what's going on around here.
Thank you.
I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, I can hear me, but what about them?
No, sorry.
Okay, it ain't just me then, because I thought, maybe a new battery or hearing aid or something. Well, anyhow, about a month ago, April Fool's Day, as I recall, I heard something pretty foolish at the meeting here. In fact, it's more than foolish, it's sad. It's stupid to have a trustee call another trustee out saying, I can't trust them. Chris, that was stupid. What I would like to know is how elected people, adults, can't figure out how to work together. You don't have to fall in love with each other, I know that. Diversity's fine with me, but you better get along. And if you can't get along, then go. I also wanted to say about recording these meetings, because we have that comment on tape, thanks to one of our other residents. And I would like to know why we can't have the township, who loves to spend money, by the way, blow it out the ears, I said ears. Why can't they have somebody permanently record this every meeting? At least the public, we don't have to do the executive say, yeah. But that's reasonable to make a public record, is it not? How much does it cost for a little tape and have it as a public record? Shouldn't cost too much, I'm in favor of that. I don't know if one of you guys can make a motion to do something about that, but I'd like to see these meetings recorded. And the other thing I'd like to mention is I don't know if you guys are aware of how much illegal activity has been going on here. I'm gonna tell you what, you're gonna find out. That's about it for today, folks. Have a good one.
Go ahead, sir. State your name.
Al Johnson, 6855 Ryan Road. This one question goes to Mr. Perlow here. Tell me why you didn't go down to Columbus for that training like our 2 other trustees did.
I had my foot in a boot and I couldn't drive, and I was able to do all of the training online.
Just wanna know.
How much did that cost?
What, the surgery?
No, how much did your training cost when you stayed home and did it at home?
The training was the same. You still pay the registration fee in order to get access to all the training. So the only thing that would have been different on cost would have been driving down and hotel.
So you saved us money?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next one is about these people that like to go by my house and throw their vulgar language out about my signs, about how I vote. You haters, I'm here to warn you right now. It won't be tolerated this time around because I'm doing something about it this time. Talk to my attorneys and talk to anybody I need to talk to. Since my 2 other trustees didn't really give a damn about me, But we had a third one, which was Marty, that actually came down and helped me out and understand my situation. You can smile there, Mr. Costello. We had plenty of words, didn't we? We'll keep on having words too, because I'm not afraid of you at all.
And I had to call the police on you after you threatened me. Mr.
Yeah,
Johnson.
that's a threat, huh? Okay. That's all I got to say. So just leave me alone, and I'll leave you alone. It's a shame that I gotta live in a township where there's a lot of haters. It's gotta go by and say their nasty stuff and throw urine bottles up in my yard, throw nasty notes on my mailbox, on my door, and all that good stuff. And after I took the signs down, they kept on going for about another year or so. So that's a shame. And then I have neighbors that came over to me a smart remark about my signs. He knows what he said. So I'm just telling you, I will not tolerate it. So you've been warned.
Thank you.
I have something. Two things. Renee Drake, live out on Lake Road. So vulgar language is not, acceptable, correct? Yeah, that's what I just heard. When you go to a public fundraiser and a township resident is standing in line, and one of the trustees' wives walk by and call him a dick, that's a dick move. That's unacceptable. The second thing is, Chris and Ty, prior to this past Friday, I would like to know if either of you are privy to the management letter that was sent out to you all.
Yep. Yes.
You were. What happened to transparency, because that man didn't get it until Friday?
We got it at the same time.
That's not what I'm understanding. You all knew about it
Same time,
beforehand.
I handed you guys each a copy on Friday.
Yep. Same time.
Okay, that's not what I'm understanding, but you go with that. That's all I got.
Anyone else? Sir?
Paul Kuntz, forgot my address. I live next to the Methodist Church on 42.
Oh, could you come up and go to the
Yeah,
podium?
I can.
Thank you.
I remember my address when I stood there. 572 Woodland Drive, Paul Kuntz. This is the fourth time I've come to a meeting, one of these meetings, and I don't understand why, but I've been pushed back every time to get Jake break signs put up. Every township around us has them, and 4 o'clock in the morning, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter what time of the day, we see them all the time. And for some reason, I'm getting pushed back that it's too hard to do, you can't do it. And the last meeting I was at, from the rear of the room came, call your state representative. These are my representatives here. Is there a reason that we can't get these signs put up? They're in every township around us, every single township. Go up Columbia Road.
My understanding is there's ODOT is doing a study right now, correct?
Well, ODOT's doing a study on, and they've completed the study, we're just waiting for the finalization of the data and their actual written report, because I did notice that they've pulled the monitoring devices down off of the telephone pole over there.
Mm.
But for Mr. Coons' situation, I mean, it's as simple as us deciding that we want to have, if we want to go this route. You know, I stopped out, we talked.
You did, I appreciate that, I really do.
And, you know, since that conversation, I have been doing a pretty good amount of research on trying to figure out what's the best way to handle it. You know, there's plenty of good reasons why, you know, a truck would use a Jake brake. And plenty of them that have engine brakes aren't even going to reach a decibel level. It's going to be noticed. And so prohibiting it isn't necessarily the way to go about it. There are Noise ordinance is already in place. A lot of those that are running straight pipes or have, you know, exhaust systems that are gonna be making that type of noise, we can already, have, you know, the police pull them over, inspect for, you know, modified exhaust and approach it that way. Again, that doesn't mean,
This isn't a modified exhaust, these are Jake brakes, these are engine brakes.
Engine retarders.
but what I'm saying is the engine retarder alone isn't necessarily what's called, they're,
No, that's what these are Jake brakes that we're hearing, I'm telling you.
but the reason you're hearing them is because the exhaust isn't necessarily up to code either, but.
No, I know the difference between the Jake brake
And to your point,
and
it is
exhaust.
something that we have the authority, you know, to pass a resolution and put in. All we have to decide, the only limitations and restrictions are you can only have one section per state route. So if we wanna put one on 42, we have to decide where it starts, where it ends. We can't pick and choose. You can't have, you know, 300 feet here and then 400 feet later, so we would just have
No,
to say.
It's the stretch of the road,
Right,
yeah.
and then we could do the same thing on 162, because I'm not saying you're wrong, there are plenty of townships around us that have taken that step and put those in there. So, I mean, that would be
We
something,
could make a resolution and then submit that to ODOT, correct? 'Cause
we would have to
they
pass a
still have the authority.
resolution.
So it's not as simple as just.
Well, they just verify.
Right.
The way I understand it from my conversations with ODOT is they just verify that there isn't already a section, you know, because again, it's one section per state route, and then they'll make sure that the signage, you know, matches up with the surrounding areas, however they do it, and then they put them in and bill us for it. But, you know, I can't imagine the cost of signs is gonna be that big of a deal, but, you know, depending on what your guys' thoughts are, I can definitely work on having a resolution drafted up to meet ODOT's requirements, and we can consider where to put them.
That's fine. Are we waiting on ODOT input as to how
No.
far we want that range to be or anything like that?
I don't see any reason to, that's not an ODOT decision, it's not really a traffic decision. The only thing I think for us to consider is there are safety concerns that go with it, but at the same time, I would think that, you know, if a truck driver felt the need to use a Jake brake to prevent an accident, I don't think a sign's gonna,
Stop them from doing it?
I would hope not.
Right.
Where they're Jake braking is not at an intersection.
Well, no, in your
Coming straight
section,
down-
your
coming
section of
straight down
42
through.
is definitely an area where I would consider,
Yeah.
you know, being definitely something that's more, at lower speed limit.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not a professional. I don't know.
Right.
You know, I've heard that engine brakes are 40% of the braking power.
Mhm.
There can be. I don't know.
But they're not, a compression brake is used as an auxiliary brake on a commercial vehicle, on a truck. And coming down through where, blowing down through from Dollar General all the way past the move. For what? I mean, the next stop is down at.
Right. No, and that's why I said, like, that's one where you can look at the areas, I mean,
Yeah.
depending on the grade and the speed limit, you know, that's something that we should take into consideration as well.
Right.
But go to Montville Township,
Right.
both ends.
They've
of
got it
township.
everywhere, yeah.
And one of the suggestions was to take the sign that, as you come into Lafayette Township down, that Montville put up, which says, end of engine brake.
Right. Well, and that's part of the reason why you do have to go through ODOT, because they'll coordinate that, so that if we were to add on to the end of it, I would imagine they'll take the end one down and just extend it further, but that's why you have to go through ODOT instead of putting
Yeah,
up
well,
just random more signs, but it is within our decision-making power.
I'm speaking for the folks in the neighborhood with kids that are having the same issues. It's not something that's happening once a month. It's more often than not. There's somebody at 4 o'clock in the morning that's getting his jollies off riding down through there. So I appreciate it, and my neighbors as well. I'm speaking for several of my neighbors as well, that we shouldn't have to have that.
Yeah, I should have people going by my house.
Man,
Based on all
she
that
never
red
had
dowels
Most
going
times
on.
now in the trucks, they're just a simple switch. It's an on-off switch. Like either it's gonna help you brake or it's not.
It's a
Just an
pedal on
on-off
the floor.
The No, it's not. There's two switches over here.
Well, when I
They're
heard
how many
about
cylinders there is, you can click
But
one,
let's
two, or click them all off, and there's a difference between a Jake brake
Hey,
and a C brake.
The issue is the noise, but
that's not the point. The point's the noise of the truck,
Correct.
the trucks, and they're not local trucks. Not at all.
thank you.
That's
Ma'am,
not-
go ahead.
it's not-
While we're on the
You
subject
got,
of
you got.
traffic,
Can you state your name?
Well, if they do, I need to know.
Hold on,
No,
hold on.
these are- these-
One at a time. Paul, you're done, or you?
Are you
Yeah,
good?
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cape Co., 7351 Westfield Road. Speaking of traffic, Mr. Police Officer.
Yes, ma'am.
You are more than welcome to come sit in my driveway at the top and watch all the speeders fly up over there.
7351 Westfield Road.
I don't know if this is a township matter or a county matter, but no, I think it's 8 axles or more are not allowed on Westfield traffic, on Westfield Road through traffic, and at least every 10 days, semi will drive down Westfield Road, cut over from 42, and go down, and Westfield's road's not semi-truck happy road. And they're just like the others, 50 miles an hour is a thing of the past going over those hills, and something's gonna happen sooner or later. If we could get some monitoring up there, or bigger signs so that the trucks know it.
When you see that type of truck that you're describing, it would help if you call us right away.
Oh, okay.
If it's only happening, like you said, once a week, so infrequently, then you have to call us when you see it. And
What do I need, just the fact that.
just
it's a
tell the
truck.
dispatcher that what you just described to us, that it's exceeding the,
Okay. Lives about 250
Yeah.
feet back from
yeah, if we know when it's
Or
happening.
125, something like that. Okay. Okay, good.
Thank you,
Like I said,
Sergeant.
You're more than welcome to sit up there and.
Good to know. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mark, go ahead.
Mark Albrecht, 5948 Lafayette Road, and I'd like to be a professional part of this community, so if any of my trucks are doing anything, they're gonna be on Westfield Road, because we do a lot of local driveway deliveries, but if anybody's being obnoxious, I need to know. Justin, your point is excellent, just by simply patrolling this, I think the decibel, even on the engine fans of the new trucks, they're noisy. Paul, they're gonna be noisy.
Mark, none of your trucks have ever Jake braked.
I probably have.
No.
Just saying, I probably have, Paul.
At 4 in the morning?
Was that you?
There's no reason at all that Jake brake would have to come on past your house at the grade that it is. So it's just people being knuckleheads. So if they could just monitor it, we could save the money on the signs, and it could be somebody ripping up through there with a Harley or anything else.
No, Mark, I've been watching this now for 4 or 5 years, and I've never seen one of your trucks at all
Well,
do that.
I'm just throwing it out there
Yeah.
to any in this room. If any of the guys are doing anything that's not professional, I need to know. They got truck numbers, they got license plates,
I have a question. What kind of trucks and what kind of business?
dump trucks.
Like dump trucks or like dirt and crap? Like
So,
that?
yeah,
Wanna know how many that go by my house every day?
there's been a
I'm
bunch.
telling you, between semis, dump trucks, and everything else, there's probably about 30 to 35 a day.
Well, I'm just throwing it out here, if one of mine are
So
doing
does it
something.
look like this on your thingy, on your shirt?
The red trucks with black stripes, and they've been here since '70s, and
Yep.
I still live on the same farm that my grandfather bought in '42, and I'm trying to keep it not being a housing development, so I am working my ass off. I'm very passionate about farm ground. I farmed this when it was still a farm, not personally for myself, but I had friends that farmed this entire county home parcel here, some of the most productive ground in Lafayette Township. It pains me to see new houses being built, and they're so close to roads that even a moped's gonna offend somebody. But on a positive note, everybody that has anything to do with this up here, you guys are doing a great job. Justin, you're doing a great job, and I hope you all learn to get along, and it's been wonderful with all the new ideas and the passion that's here. I even know that it's sometimes colliding, but
Thank you, sir.
streamline it, and I think that's great. The zoning, everything's great.
Hey, Mark, I got a question.
Oh, well, thank you.
Hey,
Fire away.
I have a question. Where in the township would, since you've been driving trucks since you were 6 years old, would you not,
Literally, 5, yeah.
would you not put engine brake signs for safety reasons?
Anybody that drives a truck, Justin, you said too, if you have to make that stop, the tires are gonna be squealing, everything is gonna have to be. But most of these guys that do it, I think that they're fruitcakes, you know?
The cowboys.
They love noise, and they probably have straight stacks, train horns, and they probably ride a Harley with no muffler. I know quite a few of them. And they love noise. That's all there is to it.
But I don't.
No, I try to be respectful, so that's why I opened that up. I wanna be.
have no problem.
But I think just a simple, it could be the motorcycle, it could be the guy with the rap music that sounds like there's a tennis shoe and a dryer going by, you know. There's a lot of that doesn't need to be happening, but, so, I don't think signs are, to your question, down past your house, yeah. I mean, slowing down is the best thing, so if you patrol that, if there's a guy that's coming with a loaded truck and press over by where your dad lives at more than 45 miles an hour, they need to be pulled over, because there could be a school bus just 2 houses down there. And that's why, I try to do the best I can to hire professional drivers and, try and do the right thing, so, whatever.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sir, go ahead.
Dennis Ring Cars, 7726 Egypt Road. I do drive, I haul tankers around here. There's some grades that you guys don't put up signs, because people look at us pull up, I'm telling you. And I haul a tanker, we come down this way, our 4-axle tankers, we're 120,000 pounds. We're legal. A regular tanker, we're 80,000. Hit a brake on a tanker, that's what you get when everything rolls forward and your brakes surge, okay? I feel sorry for them houses, the people who built them houses there, that they weren't told that's an industrial parkway route. Over here at 42 and stuff, I understand what you're saying. Part of the problem is you had Dillon trucking up here for a long time. Guys were local, they knew the roads. I ran the road all my life. I run through little towns back in the day. Roads disappear in front of you. I always have my Jake brake armed, because I'd be coming up a 50-mile-an-hour road and all of a sudden the road disappears. I understand, I'm not trying to, so I'm not saying all of them, and he's right. I work with a couple of idiots that every time it hits the Jake brake. Patrol is the best way, but God, if you guys start putting Jake brake signs like on that Dodge Stroker 42 over here, somebody's gonna get hurt. I've had people look at my truck and go, ooh, a truck, I don't want to be behind him. Pull out in front of me. I'm all over the brakes. And I don't want to kill anybody. So if I offend somebody, Jake brake's coming on, I can't help it. It's what it's gonna be. So you gotta have an even playing field. I'm not trying to pick on you, so please, and I understand what you're saying, but I'm telling you, most of the tankers that are doing it, they're from down south. They don't know the roads. I see them up here all the time.
The trucks that are coming down through there are not local trucks.
That's what I just said. That's what I just said. No, that's what I just said.
And Mark, we've known each other a long time. This is not an attack on your company at all.
I don't think.
No, it ain't attack on anybody's. It ain't attack on anybody.
That's not what it's about. But there's a group of neighbors over there that all think the same thing. This is, why does this have to be at 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning?
Are you by the turn?
No.
I don't know where you're at. That's what I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
Right by
Methodist churches.
Methodist Church and Moo Motel.
Halfway between Wedgewood and Chatham Road.
Oh, okay.
I live in.
Yeah, you know what, I ain't gonna argue with you on that fact, I agree with you 100%. I just, I'm just trying to give you a perspective of some of the trucks that come through that don't know the area. And I'm telling you, roads sneak up on you. Look at the people that died on that circle on 3 already, because the road disappears at nighttime. You hit that circle at nighttime in a truck, the road goes this way, and that's what happens. So people run with injured brakes for that reason,
It's a
okay?
straight road.
I know, I just said that, I understand that,
Yeah,
I agree, I understand that, and that's what you're gonna have to do is patrol it.
And the question I have though is, why is every township around us,
Because they put up signs and half of them don't enforce them. I ran the West Coast, back and forth, coast to coast. I used to drop off the mountains in Vail, they're billion-dollar homes, they had signs up everywhere. You know how we come off the mountains? Jake Briggs blaring.
we're not on a mountain.
No, but you understand what I'm trying to say, they put up
You
signs.
can, where you need to use it is one thing, but if you're this.
And I just
or you
said
this,
that, and I agree with you, I agree with you 100%
Big
about
guy,
that.
little guy.
I agree with you 100% about that.
Read it.
I agree with you 100%. But if you're gonna pull somebody over that's out of town, maybe you need to go, these roads ain't this bad. You don't need, you know what I'm trying to say to you? Everybody's been out here in the middle of the night and the road disappears in front of you. You got a tanker rolling behind you.
Yeah, when
You're
the
cleaning
road's
up the
got
road.
lights on it, and it's flat with a little dip in it.
Yeah, I know.
Different
I said
story.
I didn't argue with you. I
It's-
really did.
It's,
Yeah.
there's a whole group of neighbors over there that are, I'm speaking for that neighborhood, not
Yeah.
just me.
And I understand that.
And the bottom line to it is that this is the 4th time that I've brought this up here.
Well, and
And I'm
I'm
doing
just
it for
trying
my
to tell you,
neighbors and
I'm
myself.
trying to give perspective to
And
truck drivers too.
Justin came to my house the next morning with his boot on.
You're a good guy.
He just had surgery. So, you know,
So anyways, that's my
I-
opinion. If you guys are, I don't think you need signs. I just need you to think, you know, even put up maybe a sign, residential area, something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean?
But while you're up, so if we're talking, let's say, from the section, maybe from Westfield Road, where you're down now completely off of the downgrade from 42.
Yeah,
And then you're coming through kind of that center part of town.
yeah.
Up, say, around past Mark's Place at
Right,
Spencer Lake
right.
Road.
No, you
Really
don't,
any
you don't
reason to
need them
need a
there.
Jake brake in
No,
there?
you don't need them there. You don't need them there. A lot of guys though, and me personally, my Jake brake is on.
Right.
Once I'm in gear going, my Jake is engaged.
But it's not
Just-
gonna go off in there because you're not gonna need it.
Well, if you let off the throttle, they go off automatically. So that's part of the problem.
All right.
That's not what the problem is.
No, but
Every truck, if you let off the throttle, every truck would be doing it, wouldn't it? That had-
Well, they are-
If you have them set up that way, they will do it. You know what, and I offer this to any of you guys. If you guys wanna go with me, I'll give you a ride around here on these hills. Doing the speed limit with no Jake brake, and you can watch how the truck's surging going down that grade.
Well, I'll
While
take
the
you up on
tank's
that,
doing
Dennis.
this. So, I'm serious.
No, I
I'm
will,
serious.
I will.
Police
So-
officer, if you wanna go, I'm serious as hell, excuse my language.
Yeah, so Justin stole my question, which I'm fine with. But you're okay with putting it right in town, say, but these hills scare you coming down
Yeah, over
Wedgewood?
here, I come by Ryan Road one morning, probably 2 in the morning, a guy pull up the lake, or at the intersection, look at me and pull out. Now, if I kill that guy, what's, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna do it. Well, it's just, you know, once you start doing that stuff.
When is it end?
Yeah, where's it end, where's it stop? Like I said, I feel sorry for everybody that built them houses, and they weren't told about that's a truck route. You know, if them roads are 35 mile an hour, put the signs up. But I don't even think that's gonna help, you know?
I've
it
been
just-
asking for 35 mile an hour from where Chippewa and Lake is to
Yeah,
the
but it's a
railroad
state-
tracks.
It's a state, yeah, it's a state route, they don't do it.
yeah, we have no control over.
Yeah, it's a state route, they're not gonna do that, they're not gonna do that. So I just, like I said, I feel sorry for you, I really do, and all the new houses, I feel sorry for them, but
My house
you
is-
gotta look at both sides.
My house is 90 years old.
Well, that's fine, I'm talking about all these over here.
It's a
I know they're,
house
you
that's
know,
been here for an awful long time, and that road is pretty flat in front of my house, and there's no need for a Jake break there unless there's an emergency.
I
And when
agree
it
with
starts,
you.
when
I
it
agree with
starts
you
at Dollar
100%.
General and blasts all the way down past almost the church.
The tough part there is even if we do signs, and again, I don't think anybody up here is saying that we can't, but there's gonna have to be a patrol and enforcement piece of it as well, because I think these guys will tell you, the same knuckleheads that like to make the noise, there's gonna be a handful that don't care about the sign either, so, you know, we're gonna have to come up with more than one solution, is what I'm saying. That's
They're
all.
not paying attention to the 45-mile-an-hour sign either.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of speed limit signs up, and they're ignoring all those
Yeah.
too.
So
So,
we've
The
got,
sign,
we're
the
gonna,
sign's not gonna change a thing.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, the
well, why
no,
did,
the no truck signs.
why did
They're
the
not supposed to
townships
come down
have-
Lake
why did
Road,
the
these big ass
townships have?
trucks.
and I wouldn't say that it
Do
won't change anything, but I don't think it's a magic bullet either, so, you know, we've gotta figure out a way to try to address the situation without just,
I feel like
Yeah.
we've had some quality conversation here, and
Yeah.
we've never heard that perspective, I don't know, but now it
Right.
sounds like the stretch in front of his house, from roughly Westfield to Spencer
speaking
Lake
for
is
neighbors, too.
a good place to start.
definitely something
Or with
worth
noise
considering.
ordinance, if you wanna keep it fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I would do, noise ordinance. And you go to older trucks are louder, even with full mufflers on them because of the way the design of the motors were. And like he said, there's fans on new trucks are louder than the Jake brakes on the trucks now. So it's just the design, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
Anyone else?
See, I didn't cut you off.
I didn't hear either one of you say that you were gonna ride with them.
I'm serious.
It's not that bad, guys.
I'm in.
I've had him all over the country, so it's not that bad.
So I
Name and
second
address?
Melanie King, Lake Road.
Thank you.
I second that he was talking about getting some microphones, and I was thinking maybe we could have this set up so it automatically tapes it. I mean, obviously someone would have to hit record, but maybe some video equipment too, and that way it's done by the township. As much as it's nice to have volunteers do
Right.
it, but it would be good to have that. Secondly, the arguing and bickering, and I will say this, there is probably more people on Facebook than there is in this room right now. But as a representative of this township, Mr. Crowley, and as these guys are representatives of this township, both places, we need to be respectful of each other. And that all kinds of working together. It's not about, you know, this or that. If he doesn't wanna go fight in the back parking lot, go for it, man, I don't care. But when you're online, you're representing this township. And the way you treat each other online and in this room is, you know, sometimes getting a little embarrassing. And it's something that, it's gotta work from both sides. It can't just be one, and I saw that one side's kinda getting a little more rap for it because it's in the meeting. But there's also a very large group of people on Facebook that I would say follow the pages and see what's going on, and it's gotta go both ways. And I think some point, it's gotta be, everyone needs to stand up and say for themselves to put a stop to the things that are going on. And not just, you know, in this room, but at some point, if someone's saying something that I feel is contradictory to what, and if you feel it's contradictory to what you have said in other places, then maybe stand up and say, hey, that's not how I felt about it. Or that's not what I've said about it. Because I think a lot of people are getting a different view of what's going on, and then they come and they're like, oh, well, you know, this and that, and you know, a lot of people see, I feel like there's two different, there's people who come to the meetings, and there's people who go to Facebook. And some people only get information from one place, some people only get it from another place. And some people read meeting minutes, some people don't, it's just, you know, like, to get here
Yeah.
at 6:30, this is what it looks like, so.
And we appreciate you being here.
Yep.
And
Thank you.
To your point, I do want to thank you for commenting, because you're not wrong in any way, shape, or form. I think we can do a better job sometimes when we do disagree, but that's human nature too. I think, and maybe to clarify your point, if I'm correct on the comment that you're referring to, there are a lot of people that present the idea of, you know, we need to, you know, the discourse or the disagreement has to be done somewhere else, and that's just never going to be the way I'm going to see it from a standpoint of this is where the conversations happen.
No,
If
no,
we-
no, I
and-
absolutely agree with you on that.
But to your point, you're 100% correct that, you know, we can all do a better job of when we have those conversations. And I think by and large, we've done a pretty good job most of the time up here, but that's, I have a biased opinion on that, so I'll agree there. But, you know, we've had things that we've brought up that we've disagreed on, we've had our discussions up here, and then, you know, we just kind of move on. But you're right, it does carry over to
It carries
the
over.
social media piece of it, and that can get
Yeah,
out of
and,
hand,
and
so.
as a township,
Thank you.
you're representing us. And, the other thing is too, just because you guys disagree, doesn't mean, you know, trust building has something to do with being consistent. It doesn't necessarily mean you'll agree on anything. It just means that person knows when you say, this is the way I wanna do it, that's the way you're gonna do it, and that's the way that the others will see it when you do it. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to disagree. I think everyone up here has a lot of great ideas. At the same time, consistency is key to working together and trusting each other. It's not about whether you like each other, whether you like the other ideas or not. You're here for the township, not just.
That's true. Thank you.
Thanks, Melanie.
I just noticed the empty chair for Marty is missing.
Mike Costello, 5525 Wagon Trail. Fiscal Officer Ruben Saul, I've sent you a number of public records requests. A fair number of them lately have come back with, I'm sending this to the prosecutor for legal counsel. Have you heard back on have you gotten a determination on any of my requests?
Yes, Friday at 3:30. We got clarification, so you should be getting those this week.
Okay. I don't know why I wouldn't have been able to get them between Friday at 3:30 and now. Why I need to wait for them until later this week, I'm not sure. But I don't understand why so many need to go to the prosecutor. You're the fiscal officer. Do you have a current certification on Ohio Sunshine Law, correct?
Yes.
Why do so many have to go to the prosecutor? Because several of them that I've sent you have been very fundamental and basic. They should not need a prosecutor opinion.
What examples are you giving?
The last one I sent you, that you responded to today,
Which was?
a copy of the log for public record requests.
Okay, well, going back to 2021 seems excessive, so he can weigh in on that.
Okay? I think we both know what his answer will be.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Go ahead.
Need name and address?
Yes, please.
Angela Ventura, 3833 Worcester Lane.
Would you mind coming up to the podium?
Not a problem. So I was just a little concerned because Fiscal Officer Ruben Saul talked about the audit release date, and I believe it was sometime in April that she said that it was released. But she did not mention the February date that was also included in that audit. There was a letter to the Board of Trustees. It was February 16th, if I'm not mistaken, yes, February 16th, 2024. So obviously that letter went out previously, and there would have been a management recommendation letter as well with that. Generally speaking, those go out to the Board of Trustees and Fiscal Officer as well. And I also made a records request for that. I have not seen it, but
You made your records request on Saturday.
Friday, but it was over the weekend. But the thing is that I also had asked Justin for that, and he also had not seen it. This was a couple weeks ago. And so obviously, he should have seen it since February. He also should have seen the audit since February if that had gone out in February, on February 16th. And I know I watched the meeting, I was in here, but in April, and he didn't have the audit, and you had made a comment that you didn't know where the audit stood, that you had just supplied everything to the auditors, and you had no idea that they were just doing their thing at that point, I think is what you said, but something to that nature. Now, the audit that showed up on the site, they don't include, on the auditor site, they don't include the management letter, that's for the township, right? But it did say, the audit itself said that the township had no response. So I don't feel like it's giving the auditors everything they need. And And certainly, at least one trustee did not have the information that he needs to make an educated and informed decision on matters to dealing with the township. I mean, how can he vote on anything, financial or policy related, if he doesn't even know what he's dealing with? And I don't think that's fair I don't think that's fair to your taxpayers. You know, the audits aren't cheap, and you're doing a disservice to your trustee. You're keeping him from being able to act in his official capacity, and you're doing a disservice to the people who voted for him, your constituents as a whole. So I'm just wondering when we actually received the management letters, and did the board, other than trustee Paroli, receive those management letters as well?
Okay, so first off, this was my first audit, and as far as I was concerned, I shared it with the chairman of the board. We met with the Perry auditors. I don't know why they came back and said there was no response from the officials, because we did give them responses. So I can't answer for them. They dated the letter in February. It got sent for desk review on, I believe it was April 8th. And then it went to the Auditor of State, obviously, and they released it on April 22nd.
Okay, but
So again, you know,
I do.
because you were a former fiscal officer.
Correct.
And if you knew how to do it your first time around, then I commend you, but I did not.
But you did have the management letter that Justin asked for. You had the audit that Justin asked for.
Okay, yes,
So,
you're correct.
okay, but you did sit up here and say to a whole room full of people that you didn't. That's just not transparent. That's being disingenuous. That's a problem to me, but, and I guess that's between the board and you, but, and your taxpayers. The last thing, I just was wondering if, right after the meeting started, there was, a woman who walked in and handed each of you a document, and would you share what that document was?
It is a letter from Richard J. Marco, attorney at law, regarding Alice Strojan, who is our former zoning inspector. It says Mrs. Strojan was employed by Lafayette Township for approximately 16 years, from January of 2007 through December 4th, 2023, when her employment was terminated. Mrs. Strojan has in her possession documentary evidence to support that position, including federal W-2 forms and pay stubs. As a result, the township terminating her employment on December 4th, Mrs. Strojan filed for earned unemployment benefits. The Bureau of Unemployment Benefits denied her those benefits because Lafayette Township informed them that Mrs. Strojan had not been employed there during the time frame required. As a result, that lie cost her the benefits earned. Your falsehood relating to her employment has had a serious financial effect on Mrs. Strojan. You are expected to make it up to her. In order to avoid litigation, an offer of monetary compensation must be forthcoming from the township within 2 weeks of the date this notice has been served to you. So we just got it today during the meeting. I don't know why they denied it. We did not try to deny Alice benefits with unemployment, but I will look into this. I'll send this to the prosecutor and take it from there.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Ma'am?
I have several things I would like to just point out.
Can you
in-
say your name and address?
Linda Collins, 129 Shady Slope.
Thank you.
Okay, I see Mike's videotaping, and I see we have a videotaper back there. Is there an update on the videotaping situation on the meeting?
For video, there's no concerted effort not to video record the meeting.
I'm asking if we're making one.
Well, for 2 years, we've done it pretty much without fail. This gentleman back here has been doing it for 2 years. This year, he got a new job, his regular job. It's been difficult. We moved meetings up a half hour this year, and he's done a couple of them, and we've missed some, and admittedly we have. Maybe regrettably we have. It's no concerted effort not to do it. We do have a camera now, and I don't know if it's going to be Mr. Kyle doing it from now on, but he's certainly done a really good job the last few years doing it.
And I agree, I just was wondering if Mike can put his away.
He could do whatever he wants with it.
You know, but we need to make sure that we document, you know, so that's what I wanna know. If we're gonna have somebody reliable to do it, or are we, the township should pay for somebody to do it?
We will have videos going forward.
Okay, and then in the meetings also, we talked about I had pretty good hearing, but I could see folks that don't have, and we did talk about putting microphones on the desks, and it hasn't been done. And I think that's one of the failures of this meeting, is that we failed to appoint people to be the champion of the idea. You know, like Justin and we talked about your issue, and then we came up with a plan, and then it kind of like, well, we talk about it, and then I refer to it as bitching in the bathroom. You go in there and you're at work, you're bitching about your job, and then you're back to work, and you know. So I think that we need to start handing out, be someone to be a champion and say, Justin, can you handle that? Chris, can you handle that? Ty, can you handle that? Put it in the meeting notes and report on it the next meeting. So that was my suggestion on that. And to follow up on that, we didn't talk about the township internet service that we talked about in the special meeting where we're at. I think we've come across the date for the end of the contract for the old people. Do we have a resolution on that?
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, not as of yet. We did have a training session, last Friday. Actually, Otarma, was here as well, which was really great. Learning about what hardware we need, so yeah, that's moving forward. I don't know if you have anything more to add on
And
that.
I've met with a couple of other IT consultants and vendors to kind of give us some information and guidance. It's just like anything, the more, everybody's got a little bit different opinion on how we should kind of set things up, so none of us being IT experts, trying to gather as much information as I can to then, you know, share with my colleagues here so that we can make a good decision. We've actually got a meeting with Medina County Port Authority's dark fiber guy tomorrow to kind of get a better understanding of exactly what the networking service setup is, you know, internet-wise for the two buildings, and then also to be able to see if it makes sense to split the two entities together so that we don't have some of the relays. So again, we're still in that process. Unfortunately, getting everybody scheduled for meetings is sometimes difficult on that sense. Everything's working and operational at this point, so that piece of it's good. We're functional. We're not, you know, missing out on the opportunities there. But it is something I hope to be able to present to the board, you know, at the next meeting. Worst case scenario, probably by July.
Yeah, and I did speak with
Right.
Keith after our last, our special meeting in April.
Right.
And he said he'd be happy to push it
Yeah.
to June 1st. And also, he agreed to come in and kind of give us
Yes.
a lowdown on everything.
He's been good.
Which he did Friday with that, when
Right.
the gentleman from Otarma was here, so.
Okay, so like if we would add those to this, so we kind of like can keep them on a rolling schedule, and you can feel good about marking it off, you know.
I'm with
That
you.
you got something accomplished. And in closing, I do not know the gentleman's name that lives on Ryan Road that puts those signs out there. I do not agree with those signs, but I do agree that you have the right to post them on your property. But talk about hatred, that is what those signs preach. And so if you expect people to read those signs and not react, you're living in the wrong country. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Is it possible moving forward, whenever we open a bank account, to go ahead and put it in a account that earns interest. I know sometimes it's not possible, but, for the most part, I think it is, and even if it's 0.25% interest, you're gonna be paying off your, what it costs to have the account. And I think that that's something that, if we get a variable one that moves with what's going on in the interest rates around us, that would be great, but, when we put things out for bid, if we're gonna maybe look for somebody who wants to work with us so that we don't lose out on interest rates, because waiting 5 years to get interest is kind of silly in my opinion,
Right.
so.
Laura, just to confirm, we did get everything switched with Huntington, correct? So that all of the Huntington accounts are at 3% now?
Yep.
Yay.
So-
Hey, that's on my,
Oh, sorry.
He wanted to check that off.
stole my question.
We're just checking things off for
No,
balance.
we're not checking that one off. Thank you, Linda, that was good points, I really appreciate that.
Anybody else,
You're
public
welcome.
participation? Okay, correspondence. We had a complaint from a resident on Honey Shade in the cul-de-sac this past week. We were able to do some concrete replacement in there, and we did not give them ample notice, and so that's on us, I'll take responsibility of that. Trimore was the paving company that was going to do it, they did it, but we thought they were gonna receive more notice than they did, so I don't know if that lady is here tonight, but I apologize, and that's on us. We also got a complaint on a property on Westfield Road. I'll probably work with Sherry or send it on to you. It was an ODOT related thing and probably maybe a nuisance related thing, so I'll forward that along to you guys. I wanted to follow up too on last week, or on last month, because it's come up again. And yeah, Mr. Frederick, I think you said it was stupid that what I said. And I can see where it would be construed that way. But since the meeting, I've had a pretty good talk with Justin. I think you'd agree, wouldn't you? And I think everybody up here could probably benefit from a little dose of not making a knee-jerk reaction at all the time. I mean, everybody up here has got a history. Everybody up here has been at odds before, but I think everybody up here is committed to serving the residents of the township. And I think we're all on the same page with that. Thank you. But in addition to that, just to know where we come from, I mean, we've been at odds for 2 years. I mean, and I did say that I sincerely hope that trust level would increase in the coming months. And I think we've already taken steps that way. And when Justin and I spoke about it, and we didn't discuss township business or anything like that, it was more, philosophical kind of talk. And his response was, well, it was brutally honest, right? And it was brutal. I mean, it was taken that way. But it was also honest, and that's where I came from. But I'm not holding grudges. I don't think Justin is holding grudges, and I think we're happy to work together on the same team. I think it's going to be the same between Justin and Ty, Justin and Laura, all of us. I will make that commitment to the township.
Thank you.
You guys have anything else?
I did have correspondence that I wanted to go over. Let me find it. I wanted to talk so long I forgot what I was doing next. Sorry.
You made
We're
it
still on
late?
your correspondence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple.
Yeah.
Oh, did you want to continue?
No, you're fine. I just wanted to make sure we were staying on correspondence, because I did have a couple.
All right, the correspondence that I want to talk about actually started out as a public record request. So I'm just gonna have to read that. It's a email between fiscal officer Laura and Mike Costello that's sitting in front of me. So Laura is responding and says, please consider this as documentation that I received 2 sealed in package 128 gigabyte thumb drive from you today after the meeting at the Safety Service Building. So that was after our special meeting on the 19th. Also, I acknowledge is the request for a copy of KGC contract in all emails to and from them in the last 6 months. Also, Laura states, as you recorded our brief exchange on your phone while holding it outside the conference room door, please confirm that this is indeed the information that you're looking for. So then Mr. Costello responded back, you are correct. This is the information I have made a public request for. I thought I had stopped my phone recording at the end of the meeting, but I will have to double check. Speaking of recording, why have there been so many meetings not recorded and posted this year, and it is only mid-April? It seems like recording meetings is no longer a priority of the township administration, even though a precedence has been set in past practice established as documented by having previous meetings on an official Lafayette Township YouTube page with a link to the YouTube page available on the township website. Here's where it's the correspondence. Mr. Fullerton, I would like a response from you as well. I would hope that these two trustees chime in as well once I'm done. But first and foremost, you do not have my permission to audio tape my personal conversations after the meeting's adjourned. I saw you walking up, looking at your phone, and I saw it was on recording. You do not have my permission to record personal conversations.
If it was an accident, I don't need your permission in the state of Ohio. You may want to check with legal counsel on that.
You don't have my
I don't
permission to
need it.
record me. And that's just shame on
Anything else? I
you.
don't need it.
So 2 years ago, when we talked about videotaping, I forget what meeting it was, when we were just brand new, we didn't guarantee anything. We said that we will do the best we can to videotape everything, but it's not part of what's required by the state for written minutes. But we would do the best that we can, and we have. We've had a couple hiccups, we get that, but guess what? I don't live in a perfect life. You might, but I don't.
It was one
So
of your
there are
campaign
some
promises.
hiccups.
That was one of your campaign promises.
So you live in a perfect life. I don't.
That was one of
Is
your-
there hiccups? There are hiccups, and we've had hiccups, and we are discussing about ways to keep that from going.
Another one of them. Got it.
What I find more interesting is, and concerning, is all of our minutes are up to date. They're approved, they're signed, we do that. In 2020, if you read the audit, Mike, you're missing several months of written minutes. They're missing. They're not to be found. So that's more concerning than it
That's the
is
fiscal officer's
a
job to
couple.
maintain the minutes.
Yeah, I figure you would blame
It's in the
her.
Ohio Revised Code, Mr. Fullerton.
Yeah.
You might want to read it and
Okay.
check it out.
So does anybody else want to comment on the videotape? I think we already took care of it.
Well,
but-
go ahead, Chris. I'm
No,
sorry.
I think we've covered that. Mr. Carl's here tonight. We've got our own camera now that we're using, and, I'm
And I-
not saying it's never gonna have a hiccup
Well,
again, but
if I'm here, it'll be recorded too, because I've got a setup now where in an emergency situation, we can at least have a cell phone recording, so we're good there. The only thing that I would add, I can definitely understand trustee Fullerton's position, but unfortunately, I do disagree. We're in public, we have no right, no reasonable expectation of privacy. Anybody that wants to record is welcome to record. Again, I'll defer if you want to get a legal opinion from the prosecutor's office and see what they say, but I
No,
think
but
they'll.
I'm in the back room having a private conversation, has nothing to do with township.
Well,
That's
again,
just-
I
Yeah.
think you would be told differently, but again, feel free to ask. I guess though, since you brought it up, the audit did mention missing meeting minutes from 2020. Do you have a list of what they claim was missing?
No.
Because it brings up a concern of mine only because I had made that request previously of this not this administration, but like I had made that public request back in 2022, and I have 25 sets of meeting minutes that were provided to me by the township
For 2020?
for 2020. Because I asked for the meeting minutes and Sherry sent me Sherry and Marty sent me like 17 years worth of meeting minutes. So, I appreciated that. It was right after the minutes were taken from the website, but if they were able to produce 25 meeting minutes, and again, I don't know if there were more than 25 that year, but if the township was able to provide 25 meeting minutes from 2020, but still don't have 20 meeting minutes. We might need to figure out what happened to those between 2022 and now.
Yeah,
Might
we
have been a good
need
idea
to
to
do
leave them on the
better
website.
forward.
Yeah, well, agreed. I
Mhm.
can't change what was done
Correct,
previously.
that's correct.
All right.
Mr. Robert,
Yeah.
we got a question real quick.
Linda Bauer, 6440 Ryan Road. I downloaded all of the meeting minutes as well that were on the website when I left office. And I went back when I saw that meeting minutes are missing from 2020, and I checked them against my calendar. I have every set of meeting minutes for every meeting that we had that was downloaded off of the website in 2022, probably the same meeting minutes that Justin has. So if those meeting minutes are indeed missing, somebody should find them, because that's a real problem. And if you need the copies that I have, that were downloaded from the website you folks were running, or Justin has them, but get copies of them and put them where they belong, because you have to have those.
I just have a question as regard to recording the meetings. Does the ORC say that you can either or record them, videotape them, or written, or do they have to be written?
Well, the minutes should be written and signed off
Oh,
on.
okay.
The official record for the minute, for the official record of the meetings is the written minutes, and that's the only requirement.
Oh,
Legal,
okay.
legal requirement is that we
Okay.
have minutes. Everything else that we do is to try to help, increase the level of transparency and access for residents that can't make it to meetings.
Mr. Demonski?
Hi,
We're
Steve
back at
Demonski,
public
6755
Yeah,
Lake Road.
apparently.
The only comment I'd like to make on the video, and I don't know whether you guys take this into consideration or not. I have a hard time hearing, and I can only hear about 10% of what you guys say in the meeting. So at the end of the meeting, I have to go back and watch the video so I can hear what you guys are saying. So it's kind of important to somebody like me that it does get recorded. I understand there are hiccups and things happen, I get that. But to record it, I think is a real asset to some people. I'm probably not the only one in here who has a problem hearing things. So it does help me out a lot.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Guys have any more correspondence?
Were you done with correspondence tonight?
Yep.
I had two, well, Mr. Demonski, and we talked before the meeting, but, had issues with the water pressure on the Lake Road line. Talked with Chief, that seems to be an ongoing issue, so, just excess draw on that with all the development. That line actually runs all the way down to the new building at the truck stops, the warehouse they built down there. So that's why, when it's heavy usage.
They finally hooked up that water problem down there, now we have a problem.
Well, everybody that's on that Lake Road line, Village, the Gloria Glens, everything on there. So maybe something that we can work with the county water department on potentially, but that's obviously a project that's a bigger scope than just the township. And then I did receive another email with a resident, and maybe Kristen can help us out here, just to drag her into this too. The MailChimp, the online, to be able to sign up for the online mailing,
Okay,
has to have a Google account as of right now?
no,
Okay,
any email.
well, when you, and this is where maybe we can, if you can help me, when you.
And we've kind of to go back to MailChimp, it was having issues with our server.
Okay.
And it wasn't allowing me to even create anything. So what I did was I wanted to do something with those emails, was I created a group, email in the, Outlook that we have.
So would it be okay, we can have, for any email distribution list, we can just have like a resident email you and
That's
add
what-
them?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it is.
Because they were having trouble with the QR code, like it would ask them to log into Google, and if they didn't have a Google account, and I know who doesn't have a Google
that's-
account anymore, but they were having trouble with that, so they were just asking.
No, they
on
don't
that
have to have a Google email.
Okay.
And if they have an issue with the QR,
Yep.
they can always just email
Email
me
admin.
at admin@LafayetteTownship.com. Just say,
Okay.
I'd like to be added to the email list, here's my email,
Perfect.
and that's all I need, and I will add them
All right.
to that group.
Thank
And
you.
if, we haven't sent any,
Right.
you guys haven't had me send anything out yet, so, just to know that people, if they were looking for.
Yeah.
Any other? Nope. I've just got a couple of things I wanna read from, I guess it's correspondence considered, it's from Facebook basically, but there's been some stuff floating around out there that I don't think are real accurate. And one of the things is, it says, starting as early as 2022 in the organizational meeting, the trustees handed out double-digit raises and created new positions of support staff for elected officials and other spending measures, hiring and raises that have more than doubled the payroll and benefits. But in 2021, the fire district township employed a resource officer that earned a monthly salary of about $1,500 a month plus medical benefits. And it was changed to an hourly rate of $16.50 an hour in December of '21. That employee resigned in January of '22, and that role was never replaced. So there's probably a pretty large savings right there. I think that person was employed for probably 3 or 4 years. In 2021, the township did not employ a zoning secretary. However, in '22, the trustees did hire a part-time zoning secretary at the hourly rate of $21 an hour, and that person works on an as-needed basis.
I'd like to add to that was approved in the 2021 meeting minutes before you guys took over.
What's that?
That zoning.
Correct, it was.
So that wasn't on you guys?
Well, we hired, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a necessary position.
That was the intended purpose, was to
Right.
hire one.
In 2021, Lafayette Township employed an administrative assistant at the rate of $19 an hour. This employee resigned in December of '21, and in January of '22, the role was filled with a new employee at the rate of $21 an hour. However, the newer employee generally worked approximately 10 hours less per week. The position is currently filled with another person that earns the same rate of $21 an hour. So really, there's not much new there, if at all. In '21 and '22, Lafayette Township did not employ a zoning assistant. However, in '23, the trustees did hire a part-time zoning assistant at the hourly rate of $21 an hour. That person worked on a very limited basis and is still employed, but it's not very many hours. It is not a large expense. In '21, Lafayette Township employed a zoning inspector who was awarded a salary increase to $1,300 a month in late '21. That employee was awarded another salary increase to $1,400 a month in early '23 and remained in the role until December of '23 when the employee was terminated. That role was filled by a new employee in February '23 at the same rate of $1,400. Actually, no, Sherry's at $21 an hour right now, but it's still the same role. In January of '22, in November of '21, the service director's employment was terminated, and the Board of Trustees at that time did not fill the position before the end of the December '21 term was up. At that time, the remaining 2 employees of the service department were awarded raises from $18 an hour to $21 an hour, and from 20 to 24 respectively. In January of '22, the service director was hired back with Lafayette Township at an hourly rate of $31 an hour, which was a $3 an hour increase and was in line with what the other 2 employees of the service department got in raises. In January of '22, the trustees did award wage increases to the following classifications of fire and EMS personnel: paramedics, $3 an hour, EMTs, $2 an hour, and a firefighter at $1 an hour. These increases brought the fire district up from the lowest paid in these categories to the middle of the range, compared with about 9 nearby departments. In '22, the trustees awarded the fire chief a $5,000 salary increase per year to $60,000, from $60,000 to $65,000 per year, which was, including benefits that he already had, about $89,700 in total compensation. And then effective January '23, following the resignation of that fire chief, the trustees granted pay increases for the assistant chief from $20,000 a year to $32,000 a year, and for the captain from an hourly rate of $24 an hour to a salary of $20,000 a year, as both were filling additional roles in the absence of a chief. And then in June '23, we hired our current chief at the annual salary of $72,500, which is about $90,000, including benefits, and it's, $400 or $500 away from what the previous chief's total compensation was. And those are the only changes. There's been very little new positions created. There has been some increases in wages, but I don't think that they're exorbitant at all. And it doesn't more than double the salary. Another clarification from our last meeting, it was stated that the fiscal officer reported there isn't enough general fund money for elected officials' pay and benefits. Last night, they kept pushing to rob some of it from the fire district fund. They just worked to convince the crowd was in financial trouble. And while legal counsel sat there and kept telling them he didn't believe the fire district funds could be used in that way. That was not how it was. In fact, I preface that with what it really was. As you know, we have a separate fire district and a township budget. And the 3 trustees up here serve as liaisons for different departments. All Laura Rubensaw was trying to do was to get clarification of how Trustee Fullerton is our fire liaison this year, on what portion of his salary should come from the fire district side. It was not a matter of robbing Peter to pay Paul. She just wanted to get it right. And it's that simple. Another thing was, over the past 2 years, Lafayette Township and the fire district has benefited from more than $500,000 in extra COVID-related funding, one-time money. But in 2022, Lafayette Township received approximately $310,000 in COVID-related funding. However, the fire district did not receive any COVID-related funds that year. In 2023, neither the township nor the fire district received any COVID-related funds. And finally, there's a thought that we're trying to raise taxes again. Trustees do not raise taxes. We all know that. Trustees can put a levy on the ballot, but it goes to the voters to choose by popular vote on whether or not they think the levy should pass. But I just wanted to bring up some of those things. And that's really, like Melanie was saying, it's just nasty rumors and stuff that gets thrown around on Facebook.
Actually, I have to add to that too. Didn't we start a full-time fire department back then?
Correct.
On a grant without, at the time, that was something else that I was gonna ask, is if we decide to start any other fiscal obligations, like, a full-time fire department, maybe at that time, we should figure out how we're gonna fund that, rather than wait until now and then be like, well, they're gonna ask for your money. Well, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I
How else
applaud,
do you
I
think it's
applaud the
gonna work?
previous Board of Trustees for getting this place staffed 24/7. It was a good achievement and something to be proud of. But things aren't, everything's more expensive now.
yeah, well, I think it's great too that they took advantage of a lot of grant money that we can get, but also fiscally responsibly, I think that we have to have funding for things.
Correct. And hats off to Chief Kavanaugh for going after a lot of these grants. That's all I have for correspondence.
I have a question on that. You did discuss the wages and I agree with you. We can't be the lowest payer and get the best people.
No, it's a struggle to keep it staffed.
I've always been confused about the insurance issue. Does the benefits that we have, are they causing this overflow in our budget? No, or underflow, however you look at it.
For the fire district?
No, for our operating budget. When we said that, the email said that we have given raises and done hiring and gave out all this money. You talked about the wages discrepancies, and I think that you had to do it.
Thank you, I
Yeah,
agree.
I think you had to do it, but I was wondering where the cost of benefits come into play.
The only person that received medical benefits was the resource officer that actually resigned in January of '22. When that person resigned, none of the new hire, they're all part-time, none of them get.
Oh, none of them qualify.
Fire chief.
Well, our fire chief does not get medical benefits though.
No.
No, but he's the only, he would be the only one on the fire side that would be eligible. And then
Correct.
on the township, it's the 4 elected officials and the 3 full-time members of our service department. Those are the only people that have benefits available to
So
them.
are of course, like you said, everything's going up.
Yeah.
Does that have where does that play into the equation?
Well, our last meeting, we chose to increase, we decreased increased the deductible portions in exchange for a lower premium rate that we pay. The premium is what we have to pay every month for coverage for the employees. It's going up a total of $48 a month in total, not per person. It's an extra $48 a month. But the deductibles went from 4
5 and 10.
to
4 and 8 to
4
5
and
and
8 to 5 and 10, which is, per person and then family.
So now we're paying a $10,000 deductible?
But you gotta remember, that's only if there's claims. Those don't, that doesn't get paid out unless there's a claim. Right.
But how much do we save? We save on our premiums for that, right?
Well, yeah, the premiums were gonna go up. I don't remember.
We
off the top
save
of
on
my head
what,
was.
right, we save
Yeah, we
on what
save
the
that
increase
money, we don't-
would have
Right.
been,
Yeah.
but they're still more expensive than they were last year, even with
Correct.
with the increase.
Yeah.
$48, yeah.
You guys have any other correspondence?
Correspondence? No, I'm good.
I'd like to say just something, just real quick.
Go ahead.
Fire
For
Chief
you.
Brian Kavanaugh, I live at 5578 Coverdale Way, resident here in Lafayette
Speaking
Township.
as chief or resident?
Resident,
All right.
but I'm also the chief. But I do want to say on the finances of the fire department, we are the lowest paid. We are one of the lowest paid fire departments in the county. And we can't keep good people being low paid. I'm not trying to spend frivolously. We need to pay our firefighters to stay here and be committed to our township. My family lives right up the road. I want the best for my family, and I want the best firefighters for my family. And if we can't pay a firefighter a fair wage to raise their families, then we're not gonna have them. I don't take health insurance here because I get it from the VA. I'm saving the township probably $15,000 on a family health care plan. We need to support our fire department. And we need to fund our fire department properly. When this started, there's articles in the Gazette from when the fire department started full-time staffing. They did not have a plan in place. The last chief said, in 2021, we'll be out of money. When they started 24-hour staffing. We're not paying our firefighters to sleep here. They get paid 18 hours a day, and they get paid a stipend to sleep here. I wouldn't do that in a million years. If I was a firefighter, we have 20, probably 30 full-time firefighters that would come and work here if the pay was fair. They all live in these developments. We would have solid, strong firefighters if we paid them. But we don't, and we can't, and that's the reality. That's all, I'm sitting down.
Thank you, Chief.
Don't you lose some of the money that you put into training because?
Oh, absolutely.
people
Well,
won't care?
we've lost four firefighters to full-time jobs in the last 4 months. They're here now, so some of those firefighters worked here for 5 to 7 shifts a month. Now they're here 1 to 2 shifts a month. And it's a continual cycle. We're gonna train up the ones we just hired. They're gonna get once they graduate paramedic school, they're gonna work here for a couple years, and they're gonna get a full-time job somewhere else. Because everywhere, I was just at a conference this morning, well, another chief was talking to another chief, and he said, oh, you hired one of my son's friends. He goes, yeah, I hope he stays. And we were talking like, well, he's probably not gonna stay, he's gonna go to the next best thing. And that's the reality. They're gonna go to where they pay.
How much does training cost per individual?
So firefighter training, when we send them to firefighter training, it's about $6-8 grand. We get a lot of that money in the firefighter training back. We don't get EMT training back, and they pay for their own paramedic school. We get some of that training back, reimbursement grants, but we put time and effort into them here to train them. So it's a fact that it's a reality. We have not planned and prepared for the future of the fire department since 2020. So that's all. Yes, sir.
And Chief, how much gear do you have to invest in the individual firefighter too?
So it's about $5,000 for a set of firefighting gear. $4,000 to $4,000 for a full, from head to toe turnout gear is about $4,000. We're gonna get 8 sets this year, all on grants I wrote. So that's a savings of $15,000 or $20,000 or $25,000. But we can't, hopefully we can continue that, but we have to replace that gear every 10 years. We have to, SCBA's are, if we replaced all our SCBA's right now, it'd be a $40,000, $50,000 or more ask. Ambulance needs replaced, 2 ambulance needs replaced, needed to be replaced, a tanker's gonna need to be replaced, the engines in a few more years are gonna start to cycle out. Those are all expenses that we need to plan for. So, yes ma'am.
As I was reading through some of the meeting minutes, I saw that at one time we had an ambulance fund. Is there any way we could, I know I saw a couple of the things that were posted last month in the meeting, I watched the meeting, but is there any way we could go back to having like a combined ambulance and fire truck fund so that next time, I mean, we know that we're going to have to replace them every so many years. So we're looking at 4 vehicles in over 20 years.
We have operating fund,
To have
right.
a continuous fund, and then possibly, when those are taken care of, be able to replace other things with it.
Right. And we have a Star Ohio account with some funds in it, but that's operating costs as well. But those funds would be exhausted if we bought 2 ambulances. Even 1 ambulance, it would be exhausted to the point where we would have to do something about it. An ambulance right now, a small ambulance, which is what we're gonna go with, a smaller version of what we have now, would be about $400,000, fully equipped.
And the fire trucks were 800 apiece?
800, yeah. By the time we buy one in 5 more years, they're gonna be over $1 million.
Yeah.
So as much as you're saying.
But putting your money away in a continuous fund are,
Yeah.
I mean, saying that person saying we used to have a fund that was specifically set up for that.
Right.
So by doing that, we continually having the money in the fund, and as it grew, you would.
So that doesn't happen now?
We are doing that now. With the Star Ohio account, we're actually getting interest on those extra funds, and then we could potentially use them for equipment, but that's not enough to sustain us.
Thank you, chief.
Thanks, chief.
Can I ask a question?
Quickly.
Real quick. Since all these very expensive homes are being built in the township, doesn't that increase the revenue for your budget?
It does, but it also,
Yes and no.
Okay,
Well,
It depends how it was
you wanna
put
take
in.
this
you're better at that than I am.
so where's the money come from that you guys work with in the budget? Isn't it our tax?
For the fire district, the
For the township?
the fire district money essentially doesn't change. The only thing that's gonna, when you have a passed levy, when you have a levy that's passed, it's earmarked to a dollar amount.
Right.
So as new construction comes in, everybody that's already here pays a little bit less and the levy collects the same. Now, it's not gonna work out to be the exact same. When there's a lot of excess building, you get some overflow, some surplus each year because they don't revise the levies down fast enough. But in theory, once a levy's passed for, let's say, I think our operating levy's pegged at about 610,000.
616.
616. So no matter how many houses get built, the taxpayers in Lafayette Township are gonna pay 616, give or take. So that just means that the more building, your individual tax bill goes down, but we don't get any more money. And in reality, we don't get any more money, and we have more people that we have to serve. So.
When was the last levy passed?
2000.
2008, I think.
2006.
Six.
2002. There's one in 2006 and one in 2002. I believe,
So.
2000.
So that's
It's
why.
about 20 years old,
Right.
prior to most of these neighborhoods being converted.
You look at your tax bill, what Lafayette Township does for the road department and the fire department, very good value, very professional on both parts, and all of you here, with all the passion that you have, I'm proud to be part of it, so.
And on your full tax bill for the property taxes, you pay about 7% to life-saving interventions. That's it. The entire tax bill, property taxes, 7% goes to the fire district.
Most of them.
Kristen, you want to touch us off on township-sponsored community events?
Sure. When I was hired, I was asked to take over some community events, such as, they wanted to have a movie night. We have this new pavilion that's being built, and we thought it would be a great, opportunity to have a, community event. as researching like things like this, to show a movie to the public, you have to get a license. It costs between $450 and $500. Then another community event is a Halloween party, which I have some great ideas for. But my question is, with these community events, is there any kind of budget for them? I know that we can always get, ask for community involvement and get donations, but there's still gonna be costs. There's gonna be costs.
Right.
Food or tablecloths or, like the Halloween party, like getting up games and activities for the kids. Of course, I can get volunteers, 4-H kids, that kind of stuff for free, and things like that. But that was my question, if there was any kind of fund for that, those kind of events.
And/or can we use local businesses to help support or?
I'm poverty level dump truck.
Well, that's kind of the thing too.
This community loves you, Mark, as much as you love
That's
it.
the kind of thing too, like if there are businesses that would like to sponsor these events, of course, it could be movie night sponsored by such and such business to help, help us support and do that. We're just trying to get some fun things for the residents, for the community to come out and be together.
I think we're kind of pushing towards Memorial Day weekend. That pavilion down at Lions Park is gonna be pretty close to complete by then, probably. There might be some landscaping or some seating or minor earthwork around it, but I think the concrete should be done by then. Maybe we should, each of us, talk with you in the next few weeks, and come up with ideas and see what you think costs might be for some of them.
Well, the big cost for if we wanted to do a movie night is the license.
Right.
What kind of lead time do you need on that to get a license for it? Probably not much.
I'll have to get back with the people, because when I saw the price, I was just kind of in sticker shock of how much, and it didn't even mean that it's because I was like, well, what about an older movie? And they're like $450. I'm like, oh, $50. Might as well get the new one for $50 more bucks.
Is it per movie?
Per movie, per one showing. Yes.
We have a friend who has a license. Can we check with them and see, they might wanna donate their
There you go.
time to do it? So can you get with us later and we'll check
Yes,
with that?
very much so. Yeah, that sounds great.
Great job there, Kristen.
I know. But, and also for one of the things, like we were talking about for these events, so say you want to come, we were gonna try and I mean, I have to go through you guys, of course, but an idea was to open up to local businesses, say at the Halloween or at movie night, if you wanna bring and set up a table and have a craft for the kids, but then you're also promoting your business, like you can give out things or things like that. But then, just more people out there to connect and, have fellowship and meet each other.
Good, thank you. He'll be back. Disposal of technology items no longer in use or operational.
Not me.
Did Justin put that one on the agenda?
The disposal, Sherry.
Sherry, did you have anything you wanted to say about that, or
About the list?
the disposal of technology items no longer in use?
Yeah, we have a list of, I've put together an inventory of a lot of the equipment that has been sitting around in the records room and in the old zoning printer, which is an inkjet printer. It's still functional, but nobody's using it because
Right.
everybody's using the copy machine.
Probably very little
There's no
value
reason
to
for
it.
The old zoning mini computer, nobody's using it either because we have laptops and admin has that PC too. So we have a lot of equipment, there's some old phones in the back room too, that nobody's using, and it's sitting in a box since I started in the office like 2 years ago. They're still there.
Just need a list of them so we can vote to trash them.
Yep, I think.
So I don't know what the stuff that is non-functional, we do have 2 laptops, 2 Dell laptops that were acquired originally with Windows 8 that I upgraded to Windows 10. Windows 10 came out July 29th of 2015. Neither one of them are functional.
Okay.
So they don't work, but they're sitting back there.
I think you're on the right track then. Let's get that list completed and cover for it.
I got
We'll
you.
jump
Thank
down
you.
there. And then we can vote on it in one of the upcoming meetings on to how to dispose of it.
Is that the only one I missed?
Yep.
All right, thanks.
So you would be up with the domain.
On the township domain, obviously still waiting for .gov to get back to us. 30 business days, and government business days, that's about another 2 months, so. And I know trustee Fullerton, you had reached out to Shirley to see if we could secure that. No luck, so we did, we're gonna give it another go on trying to work with the current registrar. You know, maybe work with Laura, I'll work with Laura on getting like an affidavit and see if we can play that game again. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but if not, we should have the .gov secured in time to make the change. And then, as the Otarma rep said, you know, there's potentially some grant money there to help us defray the cost of
But
a
either
conversion.
way, however it works, I'd still say .gov, just.
Probably makes more sense, especially if we can secure grant money to cover the cost of it, and then we don't have the risk in the future of another similar
Yeah.
type situation where a registrar is not gonna help us. But that's where we are on that one.
Do we have a motion to move forward with the .gov domain?
I'd probably wait until we get I mean, do we?
We're gonna do it sooner or later if we're gonna do it anyway.
We really decided we're already gonna secure it for the township. There's no cost associated with registering the .gov. Then we'll have to, I don't think we need a formal
Okay.
action until we're ready to actually maybe transfer the domains or do something like that.
I agree.
Ty, banking update?
Yes, a couple months ago, I sat down with Westfield, and talked, and we talked back and forth, and, we all didn't agree, which was fine. But last week, I finally got to have a sit-down, face-to-face meeting with Huntington Bank, with Tony and Julie. They're both VPs with Huntington. Very informative meeting. The township, we have already switched to the preferred checking, which is 3% interest rate on all of our money. And so I had asked them, when did they start offering those rates? And they said February of this year was the first time that they were offering any interest rates of substantial interest rates. We were hooked into a 0.3%. So it wasn't zero interest, but low enough. Tony did admit that he was trying to email Laura and was using the wrong email address, so he owned up to that. But he's got the old one out of his system and has her new email address now. So he was trying to get a hold of us to tell us that. So that social media chatter about zero interest bearing accounts for 2 years is, to me, is just a bunch of hogwash. Because it was 0.3% for over 6+ years. The township's been banking with Huntington since 1968. We talked about being diverse in competition. Competition is a good thing. Both proposals, in my opinion, were good. Huntington's was, Westfield's was. Tony stated to me that it would be okay if we pulled $1 million from Huntington and added a second bank. It's a good business decision, just to keep competition, them watching each other. We're in the middle, we make out. I would move to take the township side money accounts and open with Westfield, leaving the fire department at Huntington. It's all about being diverse, it's all about competition, and it's all good for us. other townships do use more than one bank. So,
Did Westfield's proposal change?
not since that last one.
So the first 400,000 deposit with them though?
Right,
does not earn
right.
any
And
interest?
Tony at Huntington, him and I talked about that. And different banks are different. Some will give a 3% and charge you service charges. And others will say, hey, we won't give you interest on 400,000 and your service charges are less. And so it's just the different ways of doing business. So, but I think the numbers are pretty darn close. And I just think it would be a healthy thing for us to do.
What are the numbers?
Well, Westfield, what Justin was just asking, Westfield's last proposal was, the first 400,000 in checking would be zero interest, but the rollover money in a mutual fund that we can pull from, put money in back and forth, on a daily basis, pays 5%. So, the additional 2% on the remainder of the amount, to me, it makes up for the difference. But nonetheless, and their service charges are less than Huntington's. But certainly not gonna split hairs. I just think I think the competition's a good thing, because once interest rates start going down.
Well, once the interest rates start going down, Westfield's gonna drop theirs. Additionally, the 400,000 that's at zero at Westfield can be deposited at 3% at Huntington, and then the balance can just be swept. We can do the same thing and put the excess over that at Star Ohio. We come out ahead, and I don't want to say they're exact, but the difference in fees were negligible, if that. There's just no feasible way to me that they can make up the interest difference on that first 400,000 getting nothing. There's just.
Yeah, I disagree,
requires a
which
little
is
bit more-
healthy, right?
Well, what are the numbers? though?
Yeah, so extra 2% on, well, let me just throw a number out. I did some handwriting
I
here,
can't
so.
do math tonight.
So, I'm just talking about the township money, 1,343,000, you minus this 400,000 at zero, it gives you 943,000, basically, rough numbers, okay, at 5%. That 5%, is, will make up for that 400,000 at zero, in my opinion. And we have competition,
How does
to
it make
keep
up
up
for
with.
it though, when I can get the exact same rate on the overflow somewhere else at Star Ohio and get 3% on the first 400,000? The numbers don't make sense. That's $12,000 in interest that we're foregoing.
Okay, well, that's fine. You got my opinion, I got your opinion. There's a guy sitting in the middle. That's why there's three.
Review with me again, I don't remember off the top of my head what the Huntington.
The Huntington,
Setup
there's
is
no
right.
requirement to how much we keep in our
Right.
checking. It's just
Right.
3% period.
Straight
But
up.
Ty's right in that if we leave all of the money in Huntington, you
Right.
only get 3% on all of it. So we have to utilize the Star Ohio accounts, which are currently paying
5.5, whatever, close enough.
But, right, so, and yes, there's a risk that it goes down, but Westfield will wind up repricing their money market if rates go down as well. So, again, it's not a knock on Westfield, it's just a simple matter of that $400,000 that has to earn nothing. If we were investing $50 million, you know, it's not as big of a deal, but for a township like us, another $12,000 in the budget, you know, that damn near covers one of our entire salaries.
You've never sold used cars, have you?
Ohio FDIC insured?
No, it is not, and neither is anything over $250,000 with Westfield.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
No.
It's collaterally,
It's in the pooled collateral, but anything over 250 is not FDIC insured.
but being a public entity, they will
Same with Huntington.
secure it.
Same with Star Ohio. Star Ohio manages more money than Westfield Bank, significantly more money.
All right, well, we're waiting on the guy in the middle.
Yeah,
We're all fighting for you, so it's okay.
I want to throw something in.
Well, if
An
Chris will
argument-
let you.
Okay. I worked with an accountant and a chemist.
Yeah.
So the chemist, as things get smaller, they become irrelevant. But with an accountant, up another penny, another penny, another penny, it all adds up. So we're talking about money here. We're not talking about chlorine.
What is it about Westfield Bank that?
You know, I just
Because
like
they're local.
well, Huntington is local
Yeah,
as well, right?
yeah.
Right, I just would rather have two banks, because then they're fighting over your
Well,
business, we
my
get the
question
better
is,
end of that deal.
When you're talking about they're moving the money back and forth, is that a sweep?
Yep, they sweep it, yep.
Okay. Have you checked others, because Citizens has.
Well, no, we're only, right now,
Right.
can use Huntington, Westfield, and
US Bank, I think.
PNC.
I think
US
Bank.
Oh,
But
okay.
we have to have depository agreements in place with the banks
Oh,
before
okay.
we can do that, and we put them out for bid every 5 years.
Has Westfield seen Huntington's proposal? Is that, are they allowed to like see what they've got? I mean,
Well,
they're allowed to
it's-
see the other ones
It's
also?
all public record, so.
Yeah, but I don't know that, I don't know if you've shared it with them, I might have, I don't know, I mean,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Ty's point, there's no reason not to, you get them competing against each other for
Yeah, I
our
mean, I
business.
just don't know
Yeah.
that they would be going, I mean, I know it's public record, but that doesn't mean they're gonna go.
so, real rough, if we stuck the full 2.3 under this example.
Right.
Doesn't matter what it is, into Huntington at 3%.
Right.
It seems like we'd get about $25,000 less than if we stuck in the 1.9, which is the 2%.
Right, I wouldn't stay with Huntington and just dump everything at Huntington, I would use Huntington with Star Ohio, and that gets you to a better position than going with Westfield.
I would
But
use all
Westfield-
three. We are using, right?
Right, but you're still putting $400,000 earning nothing. There can be plenty of reasons to use Westfield Bank. Maximizing the interest that we get cannot be one of them. If the sole goal is to maximize the interest that we earn, Westfield Bank isn't gonna be a part of the proposal. Now, like I said, if we put money there, you can come up with all kinds of other reasons. There, FDIC, diversification, those arguments are valid arguments, but when it comes to maximizing our interest, there's nothing about Westfield's proposal that helps us do that. There just isn't. That's just the numbers. Simple math.
Yeah, I mean, the only potential would be for a decent change is Westfield's gonna guarantee this for 6 months?
Sure.
And so
You're right,
you could
you're
see
right. In a
month-over-month
situation,
decline in
if
Star
interest rates
Ohio.
collapsed,
Right. Well, I wouldn't even have to.
they'd have to go
collapse,
pretty
but-
significant,
I mean, you
but.
just have to see Star Ohio start declining month over month over month. But I don't see a big drawback though. I don't see a big negative to it. Do you, Laura?
No.
I mean,
I have
do you
to
see any?
recuse myself, though.
Well, I told you, the only criteria for me is maximizing our interest. That, to me, that's our only goal. We're already limited in how much risk we can take, so it's not like we're not throwing it on some, startup company that can potentially lose our money. These are all extremely safe investment vehicles. So at that point, it really should just come down to what's gonna get us the most interest, what's gonna give us the best return on the tax dollars that we've collected. And like I said, the math of the situation leads it to be, everything goes to Huntington, and anything that we don't need in our checking should be with Star Ohio.
Probably. I mean, you're probably.
Now, like I said, you can make all the other arguments, they're not wrong. Diversification's a thing, having banks competing, that's a thing, but Westfield's offer just, to me, doesn't make any sense.
Question. 2 years ago, everybody was paying 0.3% interest rate. I even had a bank that was 0.05% interest. That can happen again overnight. If you take all the interest rates out of the equation, is there any preference based on that, where we could all end up anyway?
Well, I like the competition part, because as interest rates start to fall, they're gonna be watching the other one's gonna be watching the other one, they don't wanna be the first one to fall. But then as interest rates start going up, they, trying to be the first one, so I think that just helps.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
Well, listen, I feel like we've got the Star Ohio accounts. We can choose to put as much money into them at any time. I don't see a drawback right now to opening a Westfield account and bringing in competition. So I would second the motion to open up the Westfield account. But there's another reason too, that I'm saying that, and that's because if you look at the management letter, we probably do owe Star Ohio a policy on investing from us that apparently they do not have, and I don't think we have done it since then. So, I mean, we can choose at any moment to take whatever we want out of the Westfield account and put it in Star Ohio. So I would second the motion to opening a Westfield account. Any other discussion? Okay.
I said what I felt I needed to say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign?
No.
Justin's no. Motion passes 2-1. All right, D-Light Electrical and Plumbing.
We had talked previously about the the electrical hookups for that. We have a quote preliminary, barring anything popping up that wasn't able to receive before he starts taking out. But D-Light Electrical and Plumbing quoted us $450 for that. While I was down there letting Rick know, he actually pointed out we have the electrical outlet over by above the copy machine.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's basically everything's set up for an electrical outlet. Wires just need to be running out. We need to put there so that we can stop hanging the electrical or the extension cord from the ceiling. So I would motion that we approve. It'll be under $1,000 for both.
Total?
I'm sure it'll come in under that, but not knowing what the quote is, I would say I would move to approve $1,000 for those two projects. That way, D-Light can get started on the work and we can get that done.
Yeah, I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign? Abstaining?
I said aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. I probably leaned too there.
Jumping on me.
I'm not trying to pick on you. I need a microphone. Medina County Township Association, April meeting.
So I was able to attend the Medina County Township Association meeting over on, at the Westfield. And I thought it was important to bring up only because we had basically two presentations. The first was the regional director of NOACA, Grace Gallucci. She did a presentation on NOACA 101, just basically federal government funding and programs that can be made available to the township. And the reason I think that it was important to bring it up is because there was actually an interesting resident from Hinckley that was invited to the meeting at the behest of the county commissioners. And he made a very elegant statement and actually gave a written statement to everybody who was there in regards to his concerns over NOACA, the plans that they have involved. I don't know that it's the same thing along the lines with the 5-minute cities that you hear people talked about, but it very much is the federal government extending grants and extra money in return for local governments giving up some of their sovereignty. So anybody that's interested, I think I forwarded this to you guys. If I didn't, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I asked for a copy of the PowerPoint presentation that she provided. I haven't received a response back from them yet. But I thought that was something that would be worth us keeping an eye on. Obviously, you know, you see grant money that's dangled out in front of you, and a lot of times it's nice to take advantage of it so we can do those things, but a case of coming with strings attached.
Right.
The other thing that was a topic of discussion, Medina Township trustee Eastwood had mentioned that they're having some issues in Medina Township with excessive amounts of public records. And he and the other trustees over there have approached the county prosecutor and also some of the local politicians about potentially drafting some legislation to try to put further restrictions on the public's right to access records. The reason that he brought it up at the meeting was their intention was that once they get this legislation drafted in order to take it down to Columbus, they would like to see all of the townships in Medina County get together. I felt it was important to bring it up tonight only because, you know, that was one of the things that, you know, I made kind of pivotal to my campaign, and I was very fortunate to have the honor of having Justice Michael Donnelly, State Supreme Court Justice, swear me in, and he would probably, well, I don't want to say what he would do, but he would be very disappointed if he saw that, you know, that I considered public records requests are already restricted to the point of protecting private data. Outside of that, the documents and the information that we hold on to here don't belong to the township. They belong to these people out here. So I just wanted to bring it up now because, again, I can't decide for us as a township, but I will never sign on to anything that restricts further than what already is public records. So I don't know if it's something, you know, that you guys would be comfortable with me drafting, just to at least let them know that, you know, they're more than welcome to do what they want to do, but I don't see why we as a township would
Well,
get involved in it.
why don't we wait on, see what they send out, and then we can talk about it.
Why would we further restrict
Well, no,
what's already
I'm
done?
just saying, who knows if it's gonna even come to anything anyway.
That's fair
if
enough.
They're trying to fight.
But that was a topic of discussion at the meeting, so.
Yeah, no, that's good. Speaking of the next meeting, though, I won't be able to be there, I'll be out of town, the one that's gonna be here.
June-
No,
Yeah, you
it's
gotta be
next
here then.
week. May
Oh,
16th.
May.
Will you be here May
yeah,
16th?
I'm sorry, for the county township association.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
county,
Yeah, no, I'll be here.
I just found out, I mean, we're hosting it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll put you in touch with Jeff Brandon.
Okay.
I gotta be out of town
Okay.
as well.
Yeah, I can take one on
I
it.
just found out today. Speaking of MCTA while we're here, did you guys?
The renewal?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Oh, I would just, I would like to make a motion to approve, you know, the $100 for the, a piece for each of the 4 elected officials, plus, you know, 3 or 4 affiliate members.
Well, if you remember, we actually talked about, we had approved at, I believe it was the February meeting possibly, adding both of the zoning boards to it. I had reached out to Mary Paulowski at the time, because she's our coordinator for the township, for the county. And she mentioned that, I was under the impression that it was calendar year renewals, but it's
No,
like
it's-
July
yeah,
to
July
June.
1st.
So we've already authorized adding those people. I would just say that absolutely go ahead, but we should put both of the zoning boards on there as well for, so that would be an additional 14 people, well, 12 people. Or
Both alternates?
my math. No, what's 14? Yeah, 5 and 2. 7 and 7, 14.
Yeah.
Plus the 4 of us,
Right.
zoning inspector. Should probably add Karen, the zoning secretary, because she does a lot of research on that for us. Because the nice thing is it allows us then to get the township, the education subscription. Again, Otarma offers a grant on that as well that I think we can use for paying for that. And that gives the whole township and everybody that's in membership access to all the webinars and, yeah. Different,
I'm
yeah,
with you.
education stuff.
What about,
I was thinking about Rick and Brian.
If they'll utilize it, absolutely. I think Brian probably will jump all over it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I talked to Rick actually about it today.
Okay.
I think he
Yeah.
would too.
absolutely.
Good.
So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 18 affiliate members? My math right?
Rick, Brian, yeah.
So that would be 18 at 50 apiece, that's 900. And then 400 for us.
Yep.
$1,300 total. And we approved that already, so. Laura, I'll give this to you, or we can sign it tonight and submit it. I don't have anything else. The zoning commission alternate interview is the only thing left, I think, that we didn't.
Yeah, and actually, unfortunately, I don't think you could make it with the, stick around, but, we had Sherry, Curtis, and Diane had interviewed, Nick Kittle as an alternate. We have an opening for an alternate on the zoning commission. I would move that we appoint Nick Kittle, the second alternate on the zoning commission.
I will second that. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign? Okay, Nick Kittle's our new commission alternate.
Alternate, yep.
Anything else, Hollis? Okay, in that case, I would make a motion to pay the warrants of the township and adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned, 9:26.